let's get this started. So anyway, if anyone's here is familiar with typical stand-up comedy routines, I mean, typically there's an audience, some guy on the stage tells a joke, several jokes, the audience laughs. Being a VTuber, this makes it a little bit more difficult. See, I'm not working with real-time laughter, right? Yeah, the chat can lol and ha-has, but it's not the same. Not really. But it'll have to do. So, we make do with what we do, right? With what we can. We all make do with what we can. And we all try to have a good time. Speaking of having a good time. Oh, video games. Who doesn't love video games? Every single VTuber and their mother on here is for video games. But back in the day, alright, so the B and I, when we were kids, we loved video games. Loved video games. Who doesn't growing up? However, the B and I had a very, very specific criteria about what to play. Okay? If a video game, let's say, required the players to get from point A to point B, and the requirement for completing a level or the story or the gameplay was to read, fuck that game. Okay? Fuck that game. The B and I hated to read. We hated it. The B is my brother, by the way. Oh no. If the game required us to read to progress, no thank you. Give me Mario. Let me walk across the screen, scrollers, jump, bonk, 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 easy. Press a button, point the joystick or the D-pad to the right side of the screen. Then you just move along. No reading necessary. You just have to get from one end to the other. But the Legend of Zelda series, tons of reading. Ocarina of Time or Ocarina of Time, that was a game we had when we were kids. We saw there was reading involved. No audible voice acting. Fuck that game. That was our attitude back then. Fuck The Legend of Zelda. One of the greatest game series of all times. Fuck that game. Another one, Pikmin. Oh, cute little guys. What's with this? What's going on here? I don't know what's going on. Oh, there's reading? Fuck that game. Okay? Anytime there's reading, no, thank you. And, so we ended up, but if there was voice acting and reading, but the characters would voice the lines, oh, we love that game. We played Star Fox 64. You know, the classic do a barrel roll, and I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, but at least he was talking. I didn't have to read what barrel roll was, because I probably couldn't even read barrel roll. And, you know, simple beat-em-up games, fighting games. You don't have to read shit to do that. Remember, we went to video games to get away from books, okay? That's the point here. That's what we're doing here. We're numbing our brains. We're not trying to educate them. Give me a break here. And the B and I understood that. Now, GoldenEye, the classic 1995 N64 GoldenEye is an interesting game because we love that game. But you know what was great about that game? Is it had reading, no audible dialogue, but no matter what the fuck you did in that game, you could still progress from level to level, even when it was mission failed. I think it was the first time I ever saw the word mission failed, and my grandfather had to tell me that's what it said. I'm like, huh, but I can still play the game. So I can shoot everybody in this game, and I can still do it. If the game had shooting, plenty of violence, minimal reading to progress the story, and voice acting, that was our game. GoldenEye, Super Smash Brothers. And here's a story about Super Smash Brothers for you folks. Okay, the very original Super Smash Brothers game, right? The announcer had a very obscured voice, right? Very hard, not quite audible. Right? So the original announcer, and he would say like, Samus, or Donkey Kong. He was very echoed up, right? So I remember that one, of course, we still can't read, right? So, but at least he's talking and saying the names. And what happened in that is, we all know Pikachu. Well, back then, the B and I did not know Pikachu. And the way he said Pikachu's name when you would select it, he said like, Pikachu. But we could not read Pikachu, okay? We didn't know what the fuck that word was. So all we assumed was going by ear. And my brother, the B, he heard Pubashu. That's right, Pubashu. Sounds like it, right? Pikachu, Pubashu. So to this day, that's a great memory for us. Pubashu. Yes, there was no Pikachu. There was only Pubashu. And here's the most hilarious part. When we finally watched Pokemon, I am positive, we did not connect the two. We did not connect the two whatsoever, that Pikachu was indeed the Pubashu we knew from Super Smash Brothers. Because, again, we hated to read. Kiss my ass if it had any reading to progress the story. Now we love The Legend of Zelda. Now we love Pikmin. But when you're a kid, you know what you love and you know what you hate. And you stay true to that and you have a good fucking time. And I love the games we played. Oh my goodness, would the original Pokemon games have been in trouble if we played those while we were young? Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Water Gun. Pokemon names that are not spelled like the words they're based off of. Yeah, that game would have messed us up, and we would have just thrown it down and say, fuck this game! That's too much reading! I'm playing a game, not reading a book, like I said. Also, before I move on to my next segment, let's give a shout out to Maury! Welcome! Hey, welcome! So glad you made it! Welcome, my friend! Alright, let's get back to the routine. Anyway, so, and speaking of, questionable game tastes, back when we could read, when we didn't want to read, had no interest in it whatsoever, this also applies to our movie tastes, what we liked about movies, okay? So, a movie that we would enjoy, give us back then, some muscle-bound freak shooting a bunch of people who we couldn't pronounce the names of. Yeah, I know, it ain't right nowadays, but goddamn if it wasn't fun to us back then. Violence and comedy was the key to get a 10 out of 10 from me and the B. I'm serious. And we weren't those kind of kids who dished out 10 out of 10 to just anything. We had principles. We rated games from 1 to 10. We had 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s. You know what never got a 10? Foreign language films. Why? Reading. Yeah, you guessed right. More reading. You know what also would never get out of 10? Black and white films. Why? You guessed it. Couldn't see the color of the blood. Dramas. You guessed it. Talking. Not enough shooting. But give me an Arnold Schwarzenegger film where he wields 2 laser guns that make no sense whatsoever, and he blows up a truck and walks like a badass and can't get hit by 1,000,000 flying bullets. Oh yeah, that movie's getting at least an 8.5 to a 9. And, let me just run off to you some of the 10 out of 10s that we got in terms of the comedy section, right? It wasn't just action, comedy as well. You make us laugh, and it's like you hit a certain peak of laughter, right? If we laughed at a certain level, right? Like, it's almost like there was a meter in us that rated a scale of 1 to 10. You make us laugh, ah! Then it gets like, 5 or something. You make us laugh, ah! You make us laugh till we're about to die. You're getting a 10. And the whole movie didn't have to make us laugh to get a 10 out of 10. It could have just been one segment of the film. And we're like, this movie gets a 10 out of 10. So, one of our 10 out of 10s, which I do regret now because, of course, my tastes have changed since then. But I don't have regrets. I'm not mad at Young Jeep. But one of the 10 out of 10s we used to have, just for the sake of comedy, Zoolander. The original Zoolander. Good movie. Not a 10. Another film that we just give a 10. Oh, we had so many 10 out of 10s. At least 40 different 10 out of 10s. We liked Commando. Again, Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you can't go wrong with that. Commando was a 10. Predator was a 10. These are the Arnold films I'm noticing. I'm listing off right here. Here are some comedies. Mrs. Doubtfire was a 10. Comedy's sake. Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire. Go figure. Robin Williams dressing up. Now, that's not what cracked us up. I think we just had a soft spot for Robin Williams. Because you know what another film we gave a 10 out of 10 was? Yeah, any of you remember the movie with Billy Crystal and Robin Williams? Any of you remember the film Father's Day? Of course you don't. Because it sucked. That's why. That's why you don't remember that movie. Why did we give that movie a 10? I can give you 2 reasons why we gave that son of a bitch movie a 10. We gave that movie a 10 because of one goddamn quote that cracked us up. Again, the laugh-o-meter. And because of mime abuse. Because a mime got pushed in the movie. And it looked funny. And we looked at each other and we're like, this film's a 10. If you think Zoolander's not a 10, Father's Day shouldn't even be brought up in the discussion of 10 out of 10 movies. And yet here it is today because of our lovely childhood of enjoying comedy or action. Speaking of no reading, we also played, back on my video game thing, we played a video game. Now, anyone here remember the game Spaceship Warlock? You shouldn't, because that game sucks too! Shit. Didn't make any sense. It's in the future, so naturally there's aliens, of course. And all you did was like type into it was a game for the monitor, for the PC or the Mac. Old motherfucking game. Bad game. The most I remember from that game is that there was a taxi cab alien driver where if you refuse to pay, you tell him to fuck off, and he shoots you. Yeah, we chose to play that game because we could type whatever the fuck we want to progress the story, and there was talking in it. Yeah. That game got us to play, but not Pikmin, Ocarina of Time, or Pokemon? You damn right better fucking believe it, because there was no reading in that game. There was a psychopathic alien with a gun in his cab, and he reserves the right to shoot you if you refuse to pay. These concepts slipped us because it was just too damn hilarious pissing him off. So, we got killed a lot in that game, obviously. More worth it than reading. Now, these were our tastes, and I'm proud to say that I really enjoyed those movies. I think it's great if anyone enjoys a movie for whatever reason. And Baby Jeep and Baby the Bee, oh man, those were good times. Very, very good, very fun times. Now, here's something that's I wouldn't call this questionable, but if we're gonna talk straight up bad movies, right? People sometimes say it's so good, it's so bad, it's good. I don't believe in that. I believe if something's just bad, it's just bad, and it makes you feel worse and depressed, and you just ask yourself, not what were they thinking, what was I thinking? I knew this thing was crap when I went into it, why don't I just turn it the fuck off? So, getting on to this, before I continue, of course, I want to give a quick shout out to the lovely Lotto! Hey Lotto, welcome! I'm glad you're here! I'm starting up another segment of the Comedy Bit Routine, talking about a bad movie. So, it's lovely to see you, my friend. So, anyway, let's get on with that, shall we, folks? Alright, so, like I was saying, bad movies, you just gotta turn them off, right? Or at least you wish you had. I believe this was one such movie. Now, here's the thing. I did not watch this movie, okay? This was later in my life. Way later, when I knew how to use the internet, a source of comedy and whatnot, at a very short span of time. So, the movie in question, well, anyone ever heard of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? Colloquially known as Garbage Day. Anyone here familiar with that? Garbage Day! Yeah, so that's when I first was introduced to Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. It's a horror movie. It takes place on Christmas, with its title, obviously. It's about a crazy guy who kills people. Just a regular human that kills people. You know, because I guess they were trying to go for more realism scary. I don't fucking know. And, so I figure I just learned about this movie from the quote, Garbage Day. And I think to myself, let me watch the scene, actually. Let me see if this thing really is that bad. Because, you know, why the heck not, right? Alright, so you watch the scene. Okay. So you got this, let me paint to you exactly what happens in the scene for those of you who have never watched it. Okay, so you got this guy walking around the neighborhood with a gun. Okay? Got this booming music coming in and out to make the scene, I don't know, more annoying than it already is. The guy's got a bugged out face on his bugged out face. Can't act his ass off. Oh, but he can throw in a little chuckle every now and then. I swear, this guy laughs so much throughout the scene, and at such ridiculous intervals, it's like he's playing a joke in his head that he heard one time over and over again. Because what's happening around him clearly is not worth a laugh. I know they were going for sinister laughter. The guy just looks like he's looping a joke in his head like a broken record. And a broken record to a lunatic and bad filmmaking is fucking hilarious. So maybe that actor was doing some kind of meta acting that we don't know. I don't know. So he laughs in intervals. Ha 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 ha. He sees people around. He points a gun. He shoots somebody. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. That's the laugh. I'm not even really over-exaggerating here. So I can't take too much credit for any laughter you folks should have for my description of this scene, because I'm literally just describing the scene. So if you're laughing about anything, the credit has to go to this movie and its horrible attempt at drama and fear and horror. He's just laughing like that at a low tempo, at a low volume, and then some random guy says, "What's all this noise about?" What's all this noise I hear? I don't know what the fuck noise this guy is talking about here. This guy just comes out, and that guy's got to be like, I don't know, 50 or 100 fucking feet away. Ha 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 ha, Laffy there, aims his gun, shoots once, gets a perfect shot in the guy's chest, and he gets launched back against the house. He just walked out because it's a little neighborhood, it's like a little suburban area. Shoots the poor bastard. Dead. One shot. Very gory. Over the top. And then, of course, another chuckle. He's walking some more. Then there's somebody taking out the garbage. Here's where garbage day comes in. Okay. Chuckles couldn't have walked more than 20 feet. And you got a guy taking out a garbage can. That guy should have heard the shot. That's the motherfucker who should have said, what the hell is all this noise? And he did follow the first guy, who could have only heard, at best, Chuckles chuckling nonstop because it's so damn annoying. May just get an instinct. But no, the guy taking out his trash comes out next, none the wiser at the bullet that just whizzed by and the sound, puts the garbage down. And then, of course, the infamous Garbage Day! Bang! Shoots the guy putting out the garbage. And my God, if the filmmaking itself wasn't choppy, the acting wasn't horrible, the consistency, the continuity, the fact of just all of it in general, the writing and all that wasn't bad enough. The editing, too, had to look maniacal, right? So they had to cut it up in a way where every angle it splits off to is supposed to dramatize somebody getting shot. Okay, this is a man getting shot while taking out his fucking garbage. That guy was trying to take out the trash, not go down with it. And you don't have to take a billion fucking angles and cut to all of them to show that this guy is dead. Okay? 2 shots. Show the shooter, show the guy getting shot, like you did with the first guy. So now, poor garbage neighbor is dead. Right? 2 down. This guy's got a 6-shooter. Chuckles has a 6-shooter. Laffy Daffy's got a 6-shooter. He walks on, and the music starts playing. Dum, dum, dum. Dun, 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 dun. The directing, however, was actually pretty decent. The pan shots and the tracking wasn't half bad. If it weren't for the rest of it, I'd say that was half decent. Anyway, dun, 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 dun. Decent directing along the way. Horrible music, terrible acting, more chuckling. And then comes in a little kid. Oh, to show that this guy's not 100% monster. Let's throw in the kid plot device. Let's add this little girl on a little toy bicycle right up to the killer's leg, bump into it, and just say, "Excuse me, mister." Again, a little kid out on her own. Who the fuck's watching this kid? It certainly wasn't Garbage Man guy, because that would have been her dad, and she would have been upset. It was some other parent's kid out and about after a gunshot is heard, and even if the parents were inside the house, they didn't go out to get the goddamn kid. The kid still gets to ride up to this killer's motherfucking leg, and then she says to the killer, "Excuse me, mister, you're in my way," or something like that. You know, the stereotypical line just to make the show the kid of innocence. Symbolism. You get the innocence of the child and the loss of innocence and the maniacalness of the fucking killer. So, yeah. No shit, yeah. And of course, he just says, "That's okay. You can go." And then she just rides along. Carries along. It was like little kiddie music as well, like dee dee dee. And now, cue the stupid over the top music again. Let's bring it back, people. Dum 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 dum. Laffy's going back on his killing spree after the girl leaves. Ha 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 ha. I may be throwing in more laughs than were actually present, but believe me, after watching it the first time, you think he laughed throughout the fucking thing, and all that was there was laughter and maybe a few gunshots. Ha ha ha. Dum 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 dum. Walks in the middle of the road. Finally the scene's coming to an end, and a fucking car drives up to this guy, drives up to the maniac, right? Because he's in the middle of the road, so they're just driving down the road. Again, this car comes pretty fast, and they see a man holding a gun in the middle of the street, and they're not even trying to swerve or get out of the way. They're driving a perfect straight line, nice and even keel. They don't even pick up the speed. They don't even fucking panic in this car. Either these people were high, or they thought that guy was just was a joke, a walking joke. So he aims at the car. Bang, bang, bang. It's a 6-shooter again, so it's got 4 shots left, because he only took 1 shot to kill Garbage Guy, poor Garbage Guy, and the neighbor with the extreme ears who can hear bad chuckling. Right? So it's 4 shots left. I think he took like 3 shots. I don't fucking care at this point. I lost count, because you're not keeping count of the bullets or continuity in a movie like this, right? You're just getting nauseous, especially by this time. And this is the same fucking scene here. The scene isn't even over. This is anyway. He shoots the car. The driver gets shot. Then the car swerves up on one side. He just walks aside from it. The car barely avoids hitting him. Gets back on its wheels and kaboom, just blows up. He didn't even hit the goddamn engine. He just hit the windows. And then it blew up. Did these people spontaneously combust when the bullets reached them? I don't think so. I think they just wanted to blow shit up. You know what? I think the car was fed up with this scene and thought, just take me. Just take me away from this scene. Just take me. And of course, after the car blows up, what does Laffy do? No cops coming by. Nobody walking outside their house to the gunshots to see what's going on. Everyone's still in their nice little suburban homes, comfy, cars blowing up, kids riding by themselves, getting lost for sake of symbolism, and garbage guys, and a neighbor putting out their garbage getting fucking murdered. And here's the thing. That scene is only 2.5 minutes long. The movie is 88 minutes. And I know that 2.5 minute crappy ass scene is not the only bad part in this fucking movie. No way. No frickin' way. Folks. The B&I never saw that movie, thank goodness. Because one of the movies we did see that we used to love when we were kids was the movie Ed. Terrible movie. Terrible movie. Now, there's a terrible movie that the B&I used to like, but you know why? Because it was a kid's movie. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, that ain't a fucking kid's movie. That's meant to entertain adults. That's not a good movie. And neither is Ed. Any of you know that movie? Matt LeBlanc, the actor from Friends, with a fucking monkey that plays baseball. It's a chimpanzee or whatever the heck it was. It wasn't housebroken. At least it's whatever. We loved that movie when we were growing up. That was the funny shit that we watched at least 3 times. We legitimately loved it. The B&I decided, hey, you know, we're adults now. Let's watch it again. God, that thing was terrible. Ugh. Monkey playing baseball should be fun. The shit that chimp got away with should have got him shot on the spot. But it didn't. He continued to play baseball. He gets captured at one point. Oh, also in the movie Ed, he dropped a Gatorade, right? He dropped some kind of plastic Gatorade thing that shattered like glass upon impact. Yeah. Post-production was trying to up that one. Oh my goodness. Ed was one of those movies that when you finish watching it, you're like, well, that wasn't worth it. Let's take a lesson from this. Ed was one of those movies. I can go into detail about Ed, but I'll just say this, folks. The thing about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, that was only 2.5 minutes, and that scene felt like the entirety of Ed. So let me tell you this, folks. Do yourselves a favor. Instead of watching Garbage Day, watch Ed. You'll feel a lot better. Trust me. That movie will make you feel a lot better, and you'll think to yourselves, this wasn't worth it, but at least you won't want to kill yourself. Unlike watching Deadly Night, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. This is funny doing stand-up without any actual interaction with the audience. I hope you all are having a good time. I'm having a wonderful time talking about this stuff. I got these routines all set up and now that. It's just about having a good time. I hope I'm making y'all laugh out there. Alright. Now that we've talked about this, that, and the other thing, let's get on with the big issues here, okay? Let's talk about, some of the things that people need to tackle, right? Thank you, Maury. Thank you, audience. Thank you, lovely Maury. Yes. So, I don't want to talk, the good part about comedy that some people do is politics, what's going on in the world, race being a subject and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about that, but I feel like talking about some of the big issues that plague our worlds. And to do this, we have to talk about the sinister undertones of TV edits. Let me tell you about that, TV edits. We all know what we're talking about when a rated R movie says fuck, bitch, shit, and all that crap, and it's edited for TV, and instead of bitch, they say bum, instead of shit, they say shoot, instead of fuck, they say frick, or freak. That's a favorite, freak. Alright, we're all familiar with these. They're hilarious. They give us a good laugh. But there's an underlying truth behind it. They say they want to do this for regular broadcast television as for family friendliness. So anybody can enjoy a movie with plenty of cussing, but with colorful replacements. Right? Sometimes very creative. Or sometimes downright sinister in its nature. Let's talk about some of these TV edits. So the ones I ran through, that's okay. I get what you gotta do. Fucking to freak. We've been through them. But let's talk about one of the weirdest ones of all. In the movie, and hold your laugh. So, if you're gonna laugh at any of these TV edits, again, I can't take credit for these, for making you laugh, because these are actual TV edits. I'm not making these up. These are real TV edits. I'm just telling you my take on this. So, if the TV edits end up making you laugh, you have to thank the people who edit them, who put in the new dialogue. Big Lebowski. One of the most famous Coen Brothers films out there. Rated R for language, obviously. That's one of its things. Certainly, language was a part of that one. One of the most infamous edits, in my opinion, that I've come across in my life when I managed to see that one. And I saw this in a compilation of TV edits. I didn't actually watch it on television, but I am familiar with certain edits on television. So anyway, The Big Lebowski, you get John Goodman beating up a guy's car. And the original line goes, "You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?" That was the original line. How it read online, not online, on TV, they changed it to, "You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?" Find a stranger in the Alps. You see what happens when you see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass to you see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. Oh my. See, I believe someone there was discriminating against the European mountain ranges there. That's why that was thrown in there. That's sinister right there. Subliminal messaging. And actually just straight out. Strangers in the Alps evidently have a temper and they beat the crap out of your cars with golf clubs. Because that's what John Goodman did. These are the big issues here, people. We let it slide in the name of family friendly. But John Goodman beat the crap out of that person's car. Because the original line is, "You see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass." And then he beats the crap out of the car with a golf club. This actually happens in the movie. But you see what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps? Where the fuck are you going to find cars in the Alps? But that's the message they wanted to convey. Here's another one. Another big issue that these TV edits are trying to slip into our consciousness. The movie Scarface. Al Pacino plays a drug dealer. And he wants to take America by storm. So he's talking with his friend, they're eating lunch, and he's saying, this is the original version. Scarface, he says, Al Pacino, he says to his friend, "This country's like a big fat chicken just waiting to be plucked. No, just waiting to be fucked. This country's like a big, no, oh no, I'm mixing it up with the edit, I'm sorry." He says, "This country's like a big fat pussy just waiting to get fucked." That's the original line. Nasty line, bad character, true. But they change it to, "This country's like a great big chicken just waiting to be plucked." Like, from waiting to get fucked to getting plucked as a chicken. What's the undertone here? Animal cruelty. Talking about plucking chickens in the name of drug dealing. What's that about? We got discrimination against European mountain ranges and animal cruelty. This is happening under the TV edits, right? Which are supposed to be family friendly, but they're actually quite sinister. Let's go into another one. And one of the famous ones. Anyone ever remember Samuel Jackson with snakes on a plane? I am tired. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. What did they change it to? This is a famous TV edit. I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. What's sinister about this? They making fun of Sam Jackson. That's bad. TV edits, people, are more than they appear, are more twisted than they appear. Alright? Meet the Parents. The main character, Robert De Niro, says, "You nincompoop," as opposed to "son of a bitch." That's just torture, man. When Robert De Niro is saying nincompoop, compared to anything else, you know there's a problem here. Alright? That's just making an Italian look like, he missed something really bad in his life, and he doesn't want to sound angry, so he's toning it down. Another one. The movie Speed. Keanu Reeves looking at a bomb beneath the bus. When he discovers the bomb underneath the bus, that's the movie Speed. The idea is he sees a bomb. What he says, "Gal me." The original line was, "Fuck me." Gal me. Now the TV edits are literally doing gibberish to mess with our minds. Literally throwing gibberish at us. My favorite of them all. Die Hard 2. Die Harder. Okay? This has got to be my favorite because typically TV edits, as we know, are just a person saying a little sentence right here and there, and they just replace it with a voice actor who sounds, I don't know, somewhat similar to the original actor, and they give him a family-friendly line, but which we all know is actually evil intent. So now let's go to Die Hard 2, Die Harder. This poor man who had to voice for Bruce Willis when Bruce Willis's character, John McClane, was going on a tirade about how stupid the police were at the airport because there are a bunch of psychopathic killers around the place. John McClane was just upset, just saying, if you had just moved your fat fucking feet, none of this shit would happen. I don't remember what he said word for word, because it was a pretty long rant. And it made sense, too, because John McClane's a cool character. Problem here was the man they got to voice Bruce Willis, they didn't bother just slipping in, a little freak here and a little shoot there. They had this guy voice the entire scene with different lines written in and similar lines. So this actor who voice replaces Bruce Willis is supposed to sound like Bruce Willis to convey this scene as family friendly. Okay? This guy doesn't sound like Bruce Willis. This poor son of a bitch sounds like he was the janitor, and they just picked him so that I didn't have to pay him. That's foreign labor abuse. My God, we all know what Bruce Willis sounds like. You know what this guy sounds like? He's like, hey man, my wife's on that plane. If you just moved your fat feet, then none of this would ever happen. Yeah, that's their Bruce Willis. Hey, we found our Bruce Willis. We need a TV edit. Look at that guy over there. I don't think we have to pay him much. Grab him. Oh my, that is not good. He had a thick accent. A real thick fucking accent. Bruce Willis doesn't have an accent. That's just how he talks. And of course, the infamous Die Hard line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," was replaced with "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon." With the same poor fella with that voice, with that inflection. "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon." I'm not really over-exaggerating. That's what the guy sounded like. "Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon." So we got Stranger in the Alps, discrimination against the European mountain range, big chicken waiting to get plucked, animal cruelty, monkey fighting snakes, making fun of Sam Jackson, Die Hard 2, my wife's on that plane, I got a thick accent, abusing labor for the sake of money, nincompoop, gal me, gibberish, the TV edits, they gotta go. They gotta go. Oh, they're funny, but their true purpose is definitely sinister. And that's how they get you. They put on a nice face, and then it's all downhill from there once you trust them. Don't trust the TV edits. Never trust them. Oh, man. Oh, I'm having a wonderful time doing this. How you doing out there, folks? Hope you all having a good one. Oh, shit. All right. Let's get on with the next one. So, we at least are understanding the bigger picture here in regards to TV edits. We're completely aware now of what they're after and then things like that. So, things need to change, though. Don't worry, right? Things need to change to get better, right? We have to change. Policies need to change. Things, in general, change is good, right? Change helps. It moves things along. We communicate and all that. So, something I was thinking about. I thought about this, I don't know, not too long ago. I want to say maybe a year ago, right? Just coming to my head, right? I mean, you can walk on the street and you'll hear this phrase or a variation of this phrase. You can play a game, you'll hear it. You can have casual conversation, you can hear it. You can hear it in movies. What's the phrase? That's quite a pair you got on ya. Or like, that's some serious stones, you got some brass ones. And I sat down and I thought about it as a way to evoke courage, right? Like, you're a badass, right? You're a badass. They're referring to the male genitalia, of course. The testicles, the balls. You got a pair on you. And I thought about this. And I'm thinking to myself, I think that needs to change. Because there is no part more sensitive to pain on the human male body than the fucking testicles. And we're acting like when you got a pair, that's strong. I'm sorry. The bigger your balls, the bigger the targets. the more pain you'll be in. If you walk just the wrong way, you're gonna slam them. You're gonna hit them. I know. So why would we want to say that's a good thing? What idiot thought of that? No. But you know what is in the crotch area that is quite powerful? The vagina. Absolutely true. When there's something on you that bleeds and still works, and that's a sign of power. That's what we need to change this to. We cannot say you got the stones for this. We need to change the phrase to something that makes anatomically correct sense here. Because otherwise everyone's just getting confused. Balls bleed, you die. Vagina bleeds, that's a period. Period. Done. End of discussion. Different than balls. Balls bleed, you die. A different kind of period. That means you're just dead. Insert period. So it doesn't, we gotta change the narrative here. From, that's some balls you got onto you, to you've got that's a vagina you got on you. When someone says, you don't got the balls to mess with me, you gotta say, it has to be, you don't got the vagina to mess with me. That's what we need to change this to here. Because that's the absolute truth. I mean, let's even look at this even farther here, okay? Alright? Alright? Even throw something at a vagina. It's just going to be a little ouch, or maybe just a little, hey, what's that? You throw something, even if you're being playful, you throw something as small as like a ping pong ball at some dude's crotch, he's going to be crying like he's like no tomorrow. How is that a show of strength, people? It is not! Where do we think this began? Let's look at this for a second. Let's give us the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there is something about this though. How did we get to this point where the balls are empowering, but the vagina, and I'm saying vagina here because I don't want to use the other iterations because they are used as a term of weakness. We all know the other terminologies. I don't like them, and they make no sense again. So let's go back to maybe right. Let's go all the way back to the cave people, right? This is probably where it began, okay? Let's go back millions and millions of years when the first cave people were thinking, okay, to have our leaders, we must be strong. What exhibits strength? Typically, pain tolerance. That's as basic as you get. So they were probably like, the council of cave people get together, men and women, they didn't know who to put in charge. They're like, okay, women, well, they don't want no women and men. They say, you can get muscles, we can get muscles. We have 2 eyes, you have 2 eyes. You can walk, we can walk. What do we do? Who is leader of cave people? How do we figure this out? We're strong. We can take pain in the chest. We can take pain in the head the same. And as they work down the body, where the body can take bruisings and pains, and they can work out, as you get at the bottom, they say, wait, that's where it's different. The most different. Sure, some chest bigger than others, but pain tolerance about the same. You hit big boobs with rock, same thing as hitting little boobs with rock. But down there, different. Line up all the flat crotches, line up all the bulge crotches. Now we take great big rock. Whack! Whack! They whack all the women down the line, right in the crotch, and they're okay. They're a little bit sore, but like, okay. Okay. Bulge time. Whack! First man down, dead. And the other guys just run. Rest of the cave people run. So then how did men get in charge? I think this is what happened after that first poor fella died. They wanted to give the guys with the crotches and the balls another chance. So they started hitting them softer. And no matter how soft you hit it though, the guys still fall to their knees. So now all the men are down and they're crying. And all the ladies are like, all the cave women are like, then I guess we are leader. And but this is when I think this is when the mistake happened. The cave ladies were like, we feel bad for bulgy crotch, for big crotch. Let's make one of them chief, just this one time. We feel bad for them. They're all like, oh no. Don't worry, we give you desk job. You can give orders. You don't need to be in field. That's where our society went wrong. Men are in charge, as we can see it, because of pity. We were pitied. Never put someone in charge because you feel sad for them. They had it right from the beginning. The women should have been in charge. We were given the power because we were felt sorry for. Our balls are not a source of strength. The balls are a source of pity and remorse, and we just feel bad for the motherfuckers. That's why they're always getting hired. That's why they're always messing shit up. Because they're always that's because they're too afraid. We're afraid. Women fearless. Men afraid. Oh no. And it all went so wrong after that. If anything there is on the women on that day was you shouldn't have felt sorry for us. You shouldn't have. No. We didn't have the vagina to take the job, and we still don't. We have balls. We have balls, goddammit. It's not bad enough that we have two of them. We couldn't figure out just to give us just one. We couldn't just have one. No, we needed two fucking targets. We needed two bullseyes. Which, hilariously enough, is more anatomically correct because a bull does have two eyes. So, when you think about that, bull's eyes makes more sense. Yeah. Not fun. Not fun. Another thing on the subject, so again, we look at this. When you really think about how these terminologies came about, you got some brass ones on you, you got a pear on you, you got some stones, and all the derogatory terms for a vagina. When you look at these, what you have to think to yourself is the opposite must be true. There's no such thing as brass testicles. That's a fantasy. You have brass testicles, something is seriously wrong with you. You got golden balls, you should be selling those things. And again, something must be wrong with you. These are wishes. We as men wish our balls were as tough as iron but worked like balls. It just doesn't work like that, fellas. Men comparing balls. I got some big ones on me. I got some big ones on too. You know what the conversation needs to change to now? What it needs to change to right now is women talking about this. You know, you got the ladies talking like, yeah, had my period yesterday. Nothing. I went grocery shopping. I took care of the kids. I watched TV. Talked to my man, had a great day. How about you? And like, shit, all I did was had a great day. And, well, you got me beat. That's a vagina you got on you. That's what the conversation needs to change to. Mother's on a whole nother level, though. Right? Mother's on a whole nother level when it comes to very powerful crotchular areas. Very powerful vaginas. Mothers are different on another level. Right? You got a young woman, single, never had kids. She says, you know, she's walking, and she walks up to a mother, not knowing the woman's a mother, right? She walks up to her. She can just say simply, which is very true. She can say like, I've stuck many phallic produce in my crotch, didn't feel nothing, I love it. I could take a 20-incher. How about you? Mother, all she has to say is, I pushed out a 20-pounder. End of discussion. Period. Mamas know what they're talking about. Don't mess with mamas. Mamas' conversations are simply this. Yeah, I pushed that out, and I'm working on another. Woo! We got you for that. That's a vagina you got on you. My God, if a guy had to push something like a kid out from the balls once, he'd be done. But again, there are mothers who do this more than once, people. That's why there's more than 3 in a family. And yet, what do we say here? A man pushes a kid out through the balls, that man's balls don't work. Woman pushes a kid out with a vagina, the vagina still works. That is some powerful ass shit here, man. Now, fellas, any fellas listening right now, I want you to take very good note of this. Gentlemen who are listening to this, I understand that you're excited to change the narrative with me, but for the love of God, whatever you do, if I have influenced you with this bit right here, when you talk to a woman, never tell them you're lucky you have a vagina, because that will get you killed. Don't do that. Do not do that. So, what we are talking about is changing the narrative to anatomically correct in terms of physical attributes of strength. That's what we're talking about here. We're changing that. Because, like I said, even women say you don't have the balls to do that, right? Even women who don't have them say that. I've heard them say it before. It's not right. It doesn't make any sense. It can't. God damn. So, that's what this is. That's something I thought about. So, it makes a lot more sense to say, you don't got the vagina to do that. Next time you see a game that's too powerful, you don't say you don't got the balls. You don't got the vagina to take care of that game. I got the vagina to beat that boss. I'm going to show you. That makes a lot of sense. It's very awesome. It's very true. Makes a lot more sense to how everything just works. Right? Even if we were to separate and throw them apart, even if we were to put vagina versus balls together on a separate pedestal, and let's just go for the base, again, the base that you can ever think of, base power, have something run up against the other, right? So if you're trying to test how strong, two people trying to test how strong their heads are, they just ram at each other because it's stupid. They ram each other and bonk each other's heads. If balls are going to run into vaginas, the vaginas will just swallow them. Right? End of competition. There is no way out of this. There is no way around this. There is no way about this. The balls lose every time as far as a fit of strength and power is concerned. So there is nothing empowering about a pair of very easy, very sensitive targets in a very easy to hit area and very easy for your own self to hit. Okay? There just isn't. No fucking way. No way. And so with that, of course, it makes you think. Yeah. Let's change that. Let's say something else. I've been doing VTubing for a while. It's been fun. Going on my 1 year anniversary, coming up in March. I'll be coming back in February. I've always been honest with everybody. I've never lied to anybody. I'm always myself. Always had a wonderful time enjoying you, wonderful audience here, and all that goodness and stuff like that. And just going through this strange enigma we call life, pondering about testicles and their rightful place in relative to the empowerment of phrasings in relative to vaginas. And while I can say, I'm not sure if I have the balls to take on this thing we call life, I certainly do have the vagina to do it. Thank you, everybody!